Okay. My name is Robert Story, and I work at USC ISI. My primary role is keeping broot up and running. And I'm going to be talking about the renumbering for broot that's going to happen this coming November. So we sent out the announcement on at the end of May. I'm not going to read all this. There'll be a link to our webpage for this later if you want to read over it. There was also a announcement from LACNIC. Again, not going to read it, and there will be a link to it later. So the key information from these announcements are that on the 27th of November, the root zone will change, and broot will move to new address space allocated by LACNIC. The addresses are there on the screen. And we've made a commitment to support the current addresses for at least 1 year. So when we made this announcement, we got some questions. Why are we renumbering? So we're looking to increase the resilience of the root server system. So currently, of the 13 root servers, 10 are in the ARIN space. With us moving to LACNIC, we will now have 4 root servers outside of ARIN. And so diversity is a good thing, and in particular, diversity for the RPKI trust anchors. So if anything should go wrong with ARIN, there will now be 4 root servers that will continue to have validated routes for serving traffic. So some people were concerned about why we were stopping service on our old addresses, and that's not what we said. We just gave a minimum commitment to 1 year. We have no plans to turn off service on either our current address or the address that we had previously. We renumbered in 2017 when we started anycasting, but we are still serving traffic on that previous address as well as the current one. So we just had to make a minimum commitment. Is double the length of the commitment that we made for the previous address in 2017. I believe we said 6 months, and double the length of a couple of the other root server renumberings. So again, we have no plans to turn off service on either our current address or our previous address. Some people were concerned that the prefixes would be returned and ARIN would give them out to somebody, and they'd be able to look at the root server traffic coming from machines that maybe weren't able to update their root.hints. We are not planning to return the older prefixes, and if or when we ever need to do that, we will work with ARIN to ensure that it's handled responsibly. You know, we can't say how, we don't have a crystal ball as to what the situation might be, but we are aware of the importance of our addresses. Some people asked why we didn't transfer our allocation to LACNIC. Root server address allocations are from critical infrastructure allocations, and ARIN and probably the other IRRs prohibit transferring critical infrastructure allocations. So we worked with LACNIC to be able to get addresses from them. Some people were wondering if it's already operational. Yes, it is. The addresses are being served on all 6 of our Anycast instances, running the same software on the same host. So it's already, as far as we're concerned, considered a production service. Of course, IANA has already been informed. We had to coordinate for the root zone change. And given that RPKI is one of the reasons that we're switching, yes, we already have a ROA for the address. So those are the key questions that we got. Some of them publicly, some of them privately, about this change. Welcome to field any questions about any other concerns that people might have, either here in the chat, or you can reach broot or LACNIC at the addresses here on the screen. And these are the links that I mentioned to the original announcements if you want to look at them in full. So I don't know if I have set a record for the shortest presentation, but that's all I've got. And then, so let me know if anyone has any questions.
So thanks for that. Are you already receiving traffic on the new addresses?
So that is a good question. We're not currently monitoring for DNS traffic levels there. We haven't updated all the monitoring infrastructure yet. When we first turned on the addresses, we were not getting any traffic. The only things I saw were the tests that we were doing ourselves.
And the second question, will you do a report after the change at an OARC?
Yes. Yes, we definitely will be looking at the time that the traffic starts to shift and how long it takes to shift. ISI is a research institute, so I'm sure there will probably be a report or possibly a paper to come out of it.
Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Robert. This is Mauricio from DigitalOcean. I was wondering if you're also planning on changing AS numbers for this change?
No, we're not.
Okay. And my other question is, how's been your relationship with DNS vendors or maintainers about this change? Are already aware that this is going to happen, so they can include it on their route hints or something like that?
So I would have to check with Wes, who's currently on a plane to another conference somewhere else, to see if he's been in contact. I know that we have seen some tickets show up in some systems for that were based on people having seen our announcements. We didn't communicate with vendors directly. We're hoping that everybody got the notice.
Okay, cool.
And if not, that the route hints and priming will all work as it's supposed to.
Hi, Robert. Jim Reed, freelance consultant. If I remember correctly, the B-root server was renumbered about 20 years ago. And I wonder if you're going to do any write-up about the current transition or the current change and compare your experiences between this time and what happened last time round, both from an operational perspective and also in terms of things like traffic behavior and stuff that you saw coming in to the old legacy address.
Yes, as I said, ISI's Research Institute, we will be looking at the traffics and the transitions. And as I mentioned, we've actually renumbered more recently than that. We renumbered in 2017, which is when we moved to Anycast. And so we are still currently serving from, I know I started in 2017, right when we did that change. So I don't know if the previous address is the one you're talking about from 20 years ago, or if there was an intermediate change as well. But so we will have 3 different epochs to do comparisons. And I can say that we do still receive a significant amount of traffic to our older address, the one prior to the one that we're using currently. So yeah, I'm sure there will be comparisons for traffic levels for all 3 at some point.
Okay, thanks, Robert. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, Robert. Suzanne Wolf, random root server operator. I think it's worth more of a comment than a question. I think it's worth pointing out that at this point, pretty much all of the root servers have renumbered at least once in the last, say, 10 years. And I think that's actually really good just to get people used to the idea. Nobody likes renumbering, but it's not that big a deal. It doesn't break things. It's not a problem even for root servers. There's very little that depends directly on what IP addresses you're using. And, with DNS-SEC and the signed root and a bunch of other technologies people have worked on very hard for a long time, there's almost no such thing as, the golden IP address anymore. And I think that's really good. A lot of effort has gone into it, and I think it's been successful. So it's no big deal, and isn't that cool?
Yes, keep calm and serve on.
This is Johan Stenstam. This is mostly a comment to Suzanne. iRoot has never, ever renumbered. It will never, ever renumber.
It will never renumber? Y'all heard him say it. There's always got to be one in every crowd.